Looks like we are good to go. Okay, looks like I have 3 attorneys and an interpreter. For the jail, I'm going to do the attorney's clients first, and then I'm going to give the speech with the interpreter. And Ms. Tolles, who do you have? Do you know the person's name, the defendant's name?
On my list are Mr. Hildardo Tornes, Tornes, and a Mr. Joel Ramos, Ramos.
Richard Moore first.
That's my case, Your Honor.
All right. Good afternoon, counsel.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
At the jail, do you all have Richard Moore? Can he come to the front?
Yes. Richard Moore. I'll step back in.
All right. Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Moore?
Good afternoon.
All right. I'm Judge Salvia Smith Fox. I'm going to preside over your first appearance hearing. This afternoon, I have your attorney, Thomas Nagel, present on the Zoom as well. Sir, you are charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. You have no bond set at this time due to the nature of the charges. You're also charged with criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree. Your bond is $10,000 on that charge. Mr. Nagel, do you waive the formal reading of the charges, or would you like them read?
Judge, we'll waive formal reading of the charges. I have those.
All right. There will be a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Christy Corbett, and also not to violate any laws if you are released on bond. The preliminary hearing is set for November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. It will probably be a Zoom hearing as well, but it's November 18th at 8 o'clock. All right. Is there anything additional, Mr. Nagel?
No, Your Honor. Can we petition this court for a bond prior to them?
Yes, I believe that, and I'm not sure which day, if you contact the clerk's office, that you will be able to sit on, or if you'll just be able to have a conference with Judge Dallas for a bond hearing. But if you contact the clerk's office, they can give you more information about when they can set that.
Magistrate Court Clerk, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moore. Thank you, Mr. Nagel.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
That concludes my business. Can I be excused?
Next at the jail, let me have Vandez McCloudy.
McCloudy.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Thomas Mondelli for Mr. McCloudy.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Mondelli. Trying to get your client's file. All right. And then after Mr. McCloudy will be Kenyatta Sparks. All right. Good afternoon, Mr. McCloudy. I'm Judge Fox here for your first appearance hearing. I have your attorney, Thomas Mondelli, present on the Zoom as well. Mr. McCloudy, you are charged with possession of a firearm by a felon. You have no bond set because you're currently on 5 years probation in Clayton County Superior Court. You're also charged with obstructing an officer. Your bond is $1,500 on that charge. Mr. Mondelli, do you waive the formal reading of the charges, or would you like to have them read?
We waive formal reading, Judge. And Judge, just may I understand correctly from your standpoint that because there is the probation issue, that bond question must be heard by Superior Court?
Yes, so pursuant to OCGA 17-10-1, because he's on probation, I'm not authorized to set a bond. You can contact the district attorney's office as his probation officer to see if they are going to file a revocation of his probation. And if not, then we can entertain the issue of a bond. If you're able to look at it and talk with the DA, then we can sign a consent bond if that's something, that happens later.
Certainly, Judge. Mr. McCloudy, do you understand what the judge just indicated?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Judge, we would just ask for a preliminary hearing date to be set.
All right. And the preliminary hearing date is going to be set for November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. It'll probably be on Zoom, but it's November 18th at 8 o'clock. All right.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Thank you, Mr. McCloudy. And thank you, Mr. Mondelli.
Thank you, Judge.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Sparks.
All right. Kenyatta Sparks.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Thank you,
Casey.
counsel.
Good afternoon. Casey Cleaver here from Scott Smith's Law Office for Mr. Sparks.
Sparks.
Kenyatta Sparks. That's a female. Is that female?
Oh, all kind of stacks of files, so.
Oh, Sparks. 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 Her.
Sparks.
You come over.
You coming on up?
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Sparks.
Afternoon.
I have your attorney, Mr. Cleaver, present as well. Sir, you are charged with battery, family violence. Your bond is $4,000. And children, your bond is $2,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Lee Ann Sparks. Also not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Mr. Cleaver, do you waive the formal reading of the charges or do you want them read?
We waive, Your Honor.
All right. And let me see. For the misdemeanor cases, the prelim would be set for November 3rd, or do you want to waive the case to state court?
We can keep it on that November 3rd date, Your Honor.
All right, so it would be November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. And of course, Mr. Sparks, if you bond out before that November 3rd date, it's going to be automatically waived by law and you will get your next court date in the mail.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Sparks. And thank you, Mr. Cleaver.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Have a good day.
You as well. Thank you.
All right. And, all right. All right, at the jail, I'm going to go ahead and give the speech with the interpreter, Ms. Tolles, and then I'm going to do the two people that need an interpreter. I'll do those two people first. All right, good afternoon. Let me have all the defendants, please raise your right hand.
Buenas tardes. Si todos pueden levantar la mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm that the information you provided on your application for court-appointed counsel is true and correct? If so, say I do.
Juran y afirman que la información
All right, thank you. You can put your hands down.
que incluyeron
My name is
la
Judge
solicitud para el
Salvia
abogado de oficio es
Smith
la verdad
Fox,
y es
and I'm
correcta.
going to preside over your first appearance hearings this afternoon.
Yo soy la juez Salvia Smith
Ms.
Fox.
Tolles, let me ask you a question. Do they have the earpiece in, or do I need to stop and let you repeat it after I sage
You'll have to stop
provision?
and repeat it. From my knowledge, it's not enabled on our system yet that I know of.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right. I want to go over.
Your Honor, let me interrupt you one moment. I don't know if you're aware, but there is a distortion in your audio. It sort of pauses in and out. I can't hear you, Your Honor. Your Honor, can you hear me okay?
Judge Fox.
Deputy at the jail, I think the audio might be frozen. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yes. I don't know, my computer, whatever. I'm gonna try to log on another computer because I couldn't.
Judge Fox?
I can hear you, Your Honor. I can't see you.
Yeah, then I was asking Ms. Toles a question, and then she typed in there, I can't hear you. Let them know I'm gonna try to log in on a different device. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Toles.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You didn't answer.
Sir.
Who do you have needed for?
Oh, I'm sorry. The
Judge
names
Smith
I-
will be right back on. She's going to try to log in from a different device.
Okay.
I have a Mr. Tornes, Tornes, and a Mr. Ramos, Ramos, on my list.
Torres, Dr. Vaughn, and Mr. Rumble says he speaks good English.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Would you like me to ask if there's anyone else who needs?
All right, can you all hear me now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I think I have two computers open.
Your Honor, I was told that Mr. Tornes has bonded out and Mr. Ramos is English proficient.
Okay, so hold on, I'm getting a lot of feedback, I think, because I have these two computers. Okay. Well, thank you anyway, Ms. Toll. Sorry that you had to wait
That's okay, Your
all
Honor.
this time.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Mhm.
You too. All right, let me fix somehow this feedback. I think I'm gonna have to see if that works. All right, can you all hear me there at the jail?
Respond if you can.
Okay. All right, I apologize about that. I don't know what's going on with these computers and the internet. Let me see, I was about to give you all some instructions, some information about first appearance. I want to let you know what your rights are. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to indictment by grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and cross-examine all witnesses that are called to testify against you. You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses in your own behalf, the right to testify and offer other evidence in your own defense, the right to be represented by an attorney. At this point, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent each one of you. Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds. Those bonds may be cash, commercial, or property bonds. If you decide to post a cash bond, You'll pay your full amount of your bond in cash to the sheriff. You will receive all of that money back after the final disposition of your case. Or you can go to a commercial bonding company. These are private companies. They charge different fees, typically about up to 15% of the amount of your bonds. Once you pay this money to the bonding company, you will not receive that money back. If you decide to post a property bond, you would need to find someone that has at least 3 times the amount of equity in their property as the amount of your bond. All of you all will have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Some of you will have additional special conditions that will prohibit you from contacting certain people or going back to certain locations. Understand that this court takes the special conditions very seriously. If you were to violate any of the special conditions, your bond would be revoked, additional charges could be added, and you would not be entitled to a new bond while you are awaiting trial. You could be charged with aggravated stalking, influencing a witness, or other charges as the law may provide, be sentenced up to 10 years in prison, fined up to $10,000. If you have a no contact provision with someone on your bond, that person will not be allowed to post your bond. Some of you are charged with offenses where this court is not authorized to set a bond for you. In that event, I will give you a bond hearing date for a superior court judge to hear your bond. Some of you are on probation, and I am not authorized by law to set a bond for you. And you'll have to see whether or not your probation officer is going to file a revocation of your probation. And that typically happens during your preliminary hearing. Your preliminary hearing is your probable cause hearing for those of you that are still detained to determine whether or not there is probable cause for the charges in order to keep you detained. If you have any misdemeanor or all misdemeanor charges, your preliminary hearing will be set for November 3rd. If you have felony charges, it will be November 18th. If you have only misdemeanor charges, you will have the option of waiving your preliminary hearing and expediting your case to state court. If you decide to waive your preliminary hearing, you will receive a court date in state court in 7 to 10 days. If you have any felony charges, you will not have this option. You will have to wait and speak with an attorney first before you decide to waive your preliminary hearing. Additionally, you have the right to have your warrant or probable cause affidavit read to you in open court, or you may want to waive that. That's the formal reading of your charges. Some of you, if you already know what you're charged with, or if you don't want, a lot of times the warrants contain sensitive information that you don't want read in open court, you can waive the formal reading of your charges. If you decide to do that, I will still let you know what you are charged with and what your bond amount is. All right, I'm going to call you all up individually so that I can go over your case information. And I'm going to start with the females on the calendar, on the October 21st calendar.
Okay, Judge Parker, then by one moment, okay? Judge Parker?
Okay, let me know when you all.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, are you Miss, what's your name, ma'am?
Judge Fox? Hold on.
Yes.
Okay.
Is this Miss
Yes, ma'am.
Calloway?
This is gonna be, we're gonna start from the 21st. I just had a question for you before we begin. Ms. Livingston, keep her for last,
Okay.
being that she's a fugitive? Or you want to do her with the remainder of the females? You just want to go in order?
I think there are two fugitives.
It's a male and a female. Tell me
We
how
can
you do it.
just go in order.
Okay, okay, I'm clear.
That'll be fine. All right, so we have Miss Calloway, and then next will be Miss Livingston.
No, ma'am, I have next Miss Diamond.
Oh, okay. They had her listed as last name Rice. That's fine.
Okay. Rice Diamond.
All right, Miss Calloway.
Yes.
Charged with cruelty to children in the first degree, which is a felony. After reviewing the warrant, I did not find probable cause for that charge. I reduced it to the misdemeanor charge of contributing to delinquency or deprivation of a minor. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Your bond amount is $2,500. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Answer.
No, ma'am.
Okay, do you want me to read your the affidavit to you?
Is that the statement the police wrote?
Yes,
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'll waive that. I already read it.
I already read that. Okay. So I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No, ma'am.
All right, your preliminary hearing will be set for November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
What was that? Number 5.
All right, thank you,
Your
ma'am.
Honor.
All right, next we have Diamond Rice and then Alicia Livingston. Okay,
Go into the podium.
all right. Good afternoon. Are you Miss Rice? Ma'am, you are charged with giving a false name, address, or date of birth. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Okay. What does that mean?
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want me to read them to you?
I waive.
All right. Ma'am, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
What is that?
It's your probable cause hearing. It will be held on November 3rd in Magistrate Court, or you can waive your case and get a court date in state court.
When you say wait for the case, does that mean I'm gonna wait in jail for the case?
Yes, unless you bond out, because you do have a bond in the amount of $1,500.
What if I don't have the money for that?
Then you'll have a preliminary hearing on November 3rd, or you can waive that hearing and get a court date in state court in 7 to 10 days.
I can waive it and go to the court date.
State court? Okay, so ma'am, they will have some waiver forms there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, ma'am.
Right.
Ms. Livingston, step up to the podium.
All right, Ms. Livingston?
Good morning, Judge.
All right, good morning. Ma'am, you are charged with being a fugitive from justice. You have no bond set because you are wanted by another jurisdiction. So this is what's called an extradition hearing. Let's see, it says that you are wanted by Miami-Dade Police Department in Florida for a probation violation. The warrant number is F170-15536. It is a felony, and they want to extradite you back on that charge. So ma'am, you'll have the option of voluntarily returning back to Florida. If so, we'll contact them. They'll have 10 business days to come pick you up from our jail, or we will release you.
It's 10 business. Okay.
Or you can contest extradition. If you decide to do that, we're not going to try your case because we don't have the file. It's not pending here in Clayton County, but you would be able to contest 4 things: whether the extradition documents are in order on their face, whether you are charged with a crime that actually exists in the demanding state of Florida, whether you are the person named in the request for extradition, and whether you are in fact a fugitive from justice. So ma'am, did you want to, and if you decide to contest extradition, I'll appoint an attorney to represent you. We can hold you in our jail up to 90 days awaiting that extradition hearing.
No.
Do you want to voluntarily return back to Florida?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, there will be some waiver forms for you to sign. And then we will contact Florida, let them know that you're here and that you have signed so that they can come pick you up.
Okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, Kelsey Ozier.
Stand by 1 moment, Judge Fox.
Yes, no problem.
Do you have an attorney for it? So we can't discuss that right now? Okay, hold on 1 minute. No, she's a fugitive. Hold on 1 second, Judge Fox. Okay. I know, that's not the paper for the defendant. Just stand right there, okay? Next is Ozier and Parker, correct, Judge Fox?
Yes,
Okay, and Williams. All right, 1 moment.
yeah, and then the last one after Williams is Alexis Wimpy.
Say
That's-
it again, ma'am, hold on. Yes, ma'am. Okay, hold on 1 moment.
Okay,
I need Ozier. Come to the podium. I need Shanika Parker. Shanika Parker.
all right, good afternoon. Are you Miss Kelsey Ozier?
Yeah.
All right, ma'am, you are charged with aggravated assault. Your bond is $10,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Naima Bankston and not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you like to have your, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, ma'am, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, ma'am. All right, Shanika Parker and then Patricia Williams.
Okay, Judge Fox, Ms. Parker, Shanika Parker is not here. After I locate her, can you take Patricia Williams next, please?
Okay, are you all gonna go get Miss Parker?
Go sit back in the corner where I instructed you to.
Okay.
Yes,
I'll-
Ms. Parker, I'm gonna, okay,
Just let me know when you have her.
okay.
And then after Miss Williams, we'll do Alexis Wimpy. Good afternoon, are you Miss Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, ma'am, you are charged with theft by shoplifting. Your bond is $2,000. Giving a false name, address, or date of birth, your bond is $1,500. Aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, you have no bond on that charge due to the nature of the charges. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Brianna McMichael and not to violate any laws if you are released on bond. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. What is that? I'm confused. I'm sorry.
Do you want me to read the warrants to you or do you already know what you're charged with?
I know what I'm charged with.
All right, ma'am, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set for November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, ma'am.
Next is Ms. Wimpy.
Yes, and then that's all the females I have on yesterday's calendar. And then next I would have Janika Barrett.
I actually have Allen, Vershay Allen for the 22nd. Starting on,
Oh, okay, okay, yes.
okay, so
I had
this,
been the wrong stack. Thank you.
you're welcome.
All right, are you Miss Wimpy?
Ma'am?
Yeah.
All right, ma'am, you are charged with violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is $5,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I'm sorry.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges? You want me to read the affidavit from the officer, or do you know what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
Okay. It indicates on October 20th, 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, at 145 Black Forest
True.
Trail and Stockbridge 30281 at approximately 1800 hours. The defendant did commit the following violations of Georgia law, VGCSA Schedule 2, and that said offender did.
Come out, put your hands up.
Clayton County Police Department executed a search warrant at the above location, 2020 SW 54937. That search warrant yielded a Xanax pill. The pill was located in the master bedroom where the suspect said it was her room. This took place in Clayton County.
Everybody go follow up.
I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, ma'am.
You said November 18th at 2 o'clock?
At 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Okay, and I can do a bond, right?
Your bond is 5,000.
Okay, and I can go through a billing company?
Yes, you can pay the whole thing, or you can go through a bonding company, or you can do a property bond.
Okay, all right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Vershay Allen.
One moment, Judge Fox.
Okay.
And Judge Fox, Ms. Parker's gonna be en route, okay? So she'll probably.
Okay. I put hers to the side, so just let me know as soon as you all have her, and I can pull out her paperwork again.
Okay, 1 second.
All right, are you Miss Allen? I think the jail, you all have the laptop on mute. All right, are you Miss Allen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, ma'am. You are charged with aggravated assault. Due to the nature of the charges, you have no bond set at this time. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Ortiz L. Clark IV, and not to violate any laws if you are released on bond. Do you understand that, ma'am? Do you understand that you can have no contact with Mr. Clark?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No.
All right. It indicates that the defendant did on the 21st day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at 6408 Ellenwood Drive, Rex, Georgia, 302. Is that 73 or 75? I'm not sure of the zip code. At approximately 1254 hours, did commit the following violations of Georgia law: aggravated assault, in that said offender did commit the offense aggravated assault with a knife against Ortiz L. Clark IV, the victim, which resulted in bodily injury. The offender was in a verbal altercation with the victim, which resulted in the offender using a kitchen knife to stab the victim in the chest. The offender and victim currently live together. The offense occurred in Clayton County. Ma'am, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, ma'am.
Next is Bradshaw. Step all the way up.
You have Janika Barrett.
Okay, take a seat.
And I can do
She's coming, Ms. Barrett's coming. She said that's Ms. Barrett at the podium.
All right, Ms. Barrett, and then Takia Bradshaw. Ms. Barrett, you're charged with obstructing an officer. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, ma'am.
All right. As the defendant did on the 21st day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, at 790 Dixon Apartment B3 Jonesboro at approximately 2119 hours, did commit the following violations of Georgia law: obstruction of law enforcement officer, in that said offender did knowingly and willfully obstruct law enforcement by giving a false verbal statement in regards to a domestic violence incident. Ma'am, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing? No, okay, ma'am. It will be set for November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, ma'am.
She had a question, Judge Fox.
Yes, ma'am.
I can bond out.
Your bond is $1,500. Yes, ma'am. All right, Takia Bradshaw. After Miss Bradshaw will be Melissa Charlotte.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon, Miss Bradshaw.
Charlotte and last name Davis.
Ma'am, you're charged with aggravated assault. Well, 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Due to the nature of the charges, you have no bond set on those aggravated assault charges. Cruelty to children in the 3rd degree, bond is $2,000. Possession of a firearm or weapon during a crime, your bond is $10,000. Simple battery, your bond is $4,000. All right, apologize about that. The simple battery, your bond is $4,000. Criminal trespass, your bond is $2,000. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No.
All right. All right, for the cruelty to children, says the defendant Takia Chanel Bradshaw did on September 26, 2020 at 60 Drew Court in Jonesboro, commit the offense of cruelty to children and 3rd degree against the state of Georgia, and that said defendant, the primary aggressor, having knowledge that a child under the age of 18 is present and sees or hears the act of the accused, did commit a forcible felony against the victim husband, Mr. Bradshaw DeQuavius, date of birth, July 23rd, 1991, when she stabbed her husband with a kitchen knife in his superior clonial nerve area, which is located on the left side upper area of his buttocks, while her 1-year-old child, Jay Bradshaw, date of birth, August 2nd, 2019, and her 5-year-old nephew, S. Rosa, date of birth, November 25th, 2014, were inside the household. Both children were in close proximity to be able to hear the acts between both parties. All right, same date and location, possession of a firearm or knife during the commission or attempt to commit certain felonies against the state of Georgia. Said accused did have on her person a kitchen knife during the commission of a felony under the laws of the state of Georgia, where she stabbed her husband, victim, Mr. DeQuavius Bradshaw, in his superior clonial nerve area, which is located on the left side upper area of his buttocks. The knife did penetrate his skin and went in his superior clonial nerve area, which required him to need medical attention. All right. All right, for the criminal trespass, same, this is October, hold on. Make sure I didn't skip one. Okay, possession of a firearm. All right, the other aggravated assault, same date and location. against the state of Georgia, and that said defendant did make an assault upon the person of DeQuavius Bradshaw, date of birth July 23rd, 91, with an object kitchen knife when used offensively against another person is likely to result in serious bodily injury, to wit, the said accused, Mrs. Takia Chanel Bradshaw, date of birth December 16th, 91, did intentionally went and grabbed a kitchen knife with the intent of stabbing her husband, Mr. DeQuavius Bradshaw, during an altercation which started because of what Mr. Bradshaw says. It was said that he told his wife that, quote, he was tired of this. Mr. Bradshaw stated while he was standing in the living room ironing his clothes, his wife rushed him with a knife while saying, "You tired of this?" and was able to stab him in the superior clonial nerve area of his left side of his buttocks. The knife did penetrate his skin and went in his superior clonial nerve area, which required him to need medical attention. For the criminal trespass, October 20th, 2020 at 60 Drew Court in Jonesboro, defendant Takia Chanel Bradshaw did commit the offense of criminal trespass, and that said defendant did knowingly and without authority locked her husband, DeQuavius Bradshaw, the victim, out of the house where they both lived. The offender refused to let the victim in his house and refused to give him a key so he could freely enter. The victim left the house going to the store with his friend. The offender did not want him to go, and that was how the altercation got started. When the victim returned home, the offender did not let him in, so the victim was not able to get his wallet, his house key, and his car key. When the victim left again, he could not enter. The offender attacked him. The offender also refused to give the victim his vehicle key to prevent him from leaving, and she left the scene with another vehicle, taking the victim's car key with her. All right, for the simple battery, the defendant, Takia Chanel Bradshaw, did on October 20th, 2020, at 60 Drew Court in Jonesboro, commit the offense of simple battery family violence against the state of Georgia, in that said defendant did intentionally battered her husband, DeQuavius Bradshaw, the victim, by hitting him with her hands and striking him in the back of his head before the victim left, and the offender was chasing him with the knife. The victim advised that the offender was just beating him up, hitting and twice striking him in the back of his head. I did not observe injuries. All right. Ma'am, you have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with DeQuavius Bradshaw, not to violate any laws if you are released on bond. Ma'am, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, ma'am. All right, Melissa Charlotte.
Harlan, come out.
After Miss Charlotte will be Trinice Davis. All right, are you Miss Charlotte? All right. Ma'am, you're charged with burglary. Your bond is $10,000. You have a special condition not to return to or go upon the premises located at 4328 Rushmore Place in Forest Park, and not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, ma'am.
All right. In the case that the defendant did on the 21st day of October 2020 commit the following violations of Georgia law: burglary, in that said offender did without authority entered and remained at 4328 Rushmore Place, Forest Park 30297, and committed theft of the following: theft of electricity when said offender used lights, washer and dryer, and cooked using the stove of the owner, victim Dwayne Taylor, at the residence. Said offender also caused minor damage to the mold of the attic when she sought the space for hiding. Ma'am, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set for November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, ma'am. Trinice Davis. And after Miss Davis, let's see. After Miss Davis will be Mercedes Holland.
Yes,
All right. Good afternoon. Are you Miss Davis?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Ma'am, you are charged with obstructing or hindering a law enforcement officer. Your bond is $1,500. Permitting an unlicensee to drive, your bond is $500. Ma'am, you have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, ma'am.
Says the defendant did on the 21st day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, at I-75 northbound, Georgia 54 at approximately 0118 hours, did commit the following violations of Georgia law: obstruction and permitting an unlicensed person to drive, and that said offender did knowingly and willfully obstruct and hindered me in my investigation by taking possession of the white Mercedes GLK and identifying herself as the driver when I initiated the traffic stop. Her boyfriend, Rondell Blatcher, was driving the vehicle. I observed him driving the vehicle with a white and black bandana on his head. She was sitting in the passenger seat. They switched seats when they pulled the vehicle over to the left shoulder of the roadway. I had to wait for them to move the vehicle to the right shoulder. Ms. Davis continued to lie and said she was driving when I initiated the traffic stop for speeding. I got beside the vehicle when I was pulling the vehicle over and observed her in the right front seat as a passenger seat. Mr. Blatcher stated she just didn't want him to go to jail for no license. Ms. Davis did permit Rondell Blatcher to drive the vehicle knowing he did not have a license. Ma'am, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yeah.
All right, ma'am, they will have some waiver forms there for you to sign, and once you sign that waiver form, you will be excused. Thank you, ma'am. All right, Mercedes Hollins. After Ms. Hollins, do you all have any females after Ms. Hollins?
No, ma'am, Ms. Parker hasn't arrived yet, so the other female that is showing on, last name Mayfield. So Ms. Holland right now will be the last one until Ms. Parker arrives. We're attempting to locate her. See if she's
Okay, sounds good. All right, Ms. Holland, you are charged with aggravated battery. Your bond is $13,000. Reckless driving, your bond is $2,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with D'Angelo Stewart and not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, ma'am.
All right. It says the defendant did on the 21st day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at 5801 Riverdale Road, 30C College Park at approximately 1956 hours did commit the following violations of Georgia law: aggravated battery, reckless driving, and that said offender did with intent drive her 2004 Chevy Malibu, license plate RLA 0404, backwards at a high rate of speed during a verbal argument with her live-in boyfriend, victim D'Angelo Stewart. Date of birth, February 28th, 88, while he was reaching inside the vehicle with the top half of his body for his cell phone, causing the victim to fall from the vehicle and maliciously causing bodily harm to the victim, who suffered a severely broken right foot and a large laceration to his left forearm, causing multiple stitches. This incident was witnessed by a neighbor, David Morris Jr. The incident did occur in Clayton County, Georgia. Ma'am, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing will be November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I have a question. You said my bond was how much?
$15,000 for both charges.
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am. All right. Mr. Akindele,
Hold on, Judge Fox. Who did you say, ma'am?
Alu Wafimi Akindele.
Okay, we're gonna start back to the 21st.
Yes.
Okay, one moment. Just let us get him set up, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right, good afternoon. Are you Mr. Akindele? All right, I think they have the laptop on mute. After Mr. Akindele will be Christian Berry. Sir, you are charged with simple assault. Your bond is $3,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Muataz El-Shafi. Date of birth, October 21st, 1972. Also, not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir? At the jail? Can you all hear me? Can you hear me, Mr. Akindele?
Okay, he's unmuted, Judge Fox.
Okay. Sir, did you understand the stay away condition?
Yeah, I
That
understand.
you have to have no contact and stay away from. All right. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Okay.
All right, sir, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
All right. Yes, ma'am.
What's your question?
Sir, they will have some waiver forms there for you to sign, and then you will be excused.
Okay, ma'am.
All right, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Christian Berry, and after Mr. Berry will be Rondell Blatcher.
I'm going down. Go over to the slide, like I just told you to, and go up to the podium. Go to the podium, sir.
Christian Berry, and then Rondell Blatcher. All right, good afternoon. Are you Mr. Berry?
Yes,
Are you Mr. Berry? All right, sir, you are charged with violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is $5,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, ma'am. My house was illegally searched, though.
You will have to speak with your attorney about that. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. They can file a motion to suppress on that issue. It says the defendant did on the 20th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at 145 Black Forest Trail in Stockbridge, commit the following violations of Georgia law, VGCSA, and that said offender was in possession of a Schedule II narcotic, and said offender did voluntarily admit to residing at 145 Black Forest Trail in Stockbridge during the execution of a search warrant 2020 SW 54937. During the search, a oblong white pill identified as a Schedule II narcotic was located on the couch in the master bedroom. The offender had constructive possession of the narcotic and voluntarily stated he sleeps in the master bedroom. These events occurred in Clayton County. The pill is suspected and consistent with Xanax. Sir, I'm going to, like I said, appoint an attorney to represent you, and your preliminary hearing is November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. All right, Rondell Blatcher. And after Mr. Blatcher will be Nathan Burks.
I'm sorry, ma'am, who was next?
For me.
Rondell Blatcher.
Blanchard?
Yes. And then Nathan Burks.
Yes, ma'am. So I said, take a seat. Reason you in the wheelchair. No, it's not.
All right, are you Mr. Blatcher?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You're charged with obstructing or hindering a law enforcement officer. Your bond is $1,500. No license, your bond is $1,000. Speeding violation, your bond is $500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Say it again,
Mr.
ma'am.
Berry.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No.
All right, it will be set for November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm clear. I'm coming back here.
All right, Nathan Burks.
One moment,
And-
please.
Okay,
Oh, they're talking, okay? Go on this slide. On this slide.
all right, and after Mr. Burks will be Brian Corhen. Are you Mr. Burks?
Yes.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You are charged with criminal trespass. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to return to or go upon the premises of the Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport and not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Do you understand that, sir? Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No.
Okay.
All right.
We go with the chop.
Says on the 20th day of October, Clayton County, Georgia, at 5052 Spine Road, approximately 154, defendant did commit the following violations of Georgia law: criminal trespass. In that said offender, it says the officer observed Mr. Nathan Burks, date of birth July 8th, 94, at the west crossover area of the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. I am familiar with Mr. Burks constantly at the airport soliciting passengers for money with multiple for criminal trespass offenses at the Atlanta airport in recent weeks. I have personally given Mr. Burks opportunities to leave the location on nearly daily basis. Mr. Burks has several criminal trespass warnings from other officers for the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, including an arrest for such on July 14th, 2020. Mr. Burks was arrested for criminal trespass and transported to the Clayton County Jail. Also given a criminal trespass warning on May 2nd, 2020 by Officer P. Jamil. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Sir, would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
No, I don't.
Right, sir, it will be set for November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Judge Fox,
Yes,
Ms. Parker has arrived. Would you like to take Ms. Parker?
yes, I can. And then after Ms. Parker will be Brian Corhen.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Parker, good afternoon.
No.
Ma'am, you are charged with forgery in the 4th degree. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, ma'am, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing on November 3rd? If you waive that hearing, your case will be expedited to state court where you'll get a hearing date in 7 to 10 days. Or do you want to keep the November 3rd date?
No.
You want to waive it?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, thank you. They will have a waiver form there at the jail for you to sign, and then you will be excused. All right, Brian Corhen. All right, after Mr. Corhen will be Deverick Dorsey. Are you Mr. Corhen?
So,
All right. Sir, you are charged with criminal trespass. Your bond is $1,500. Sir, you have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Also to have no violence or harassing contact with Jesse King. Date of birth looks like December 28th, 2002. Do you understand that, sir?
no.
All right. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
You can read them.
Ladies, come out.
Can I ask you a question? If he lives with me at my house, is he gonna be, so I can go back to the house? I just can't, I just don't need to be fussing and
You
stuff.
can have contact. It cannot be of a violent or harassing nature. All right. It says the defendant did on the 20th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at 6097 Park Drive, Forest Park, Georgia 30297 at approximately 1321 hours commit the following violations of Georgia law: criminal trespass, family violence, And that said offender did commit the crime of criminal trespass when he broke the bathroom door during an argument with victim Jesse King, date of birth 12/28/2002, his 17-year-old roommate, causing damage less than $500. The above occurred in Clayton County in their shared house. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
I'm gonna bond out today.
Okay, so you want to go ahead and waive it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, they will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. You'll get your next court date in the mail after you bond out. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Everett Dorsey, and then Alexander Dunn. Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Dorsey?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Sir, you're charged with aggravated assault. You have no bond set at this time due to the nature of the charges, and battery, your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Artesia Nicholas, date of birth May 13th, 2003, and not to violate any laws if you are released on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
So how can I get released on bond if I have no bond for the aggravated assault?
If you get a bond later, we'll have a condition not to violate any bonds. You just don't have a bond today.
And that's
To appoint an attorney to represent you, they can look into it, they can talk to the victim, they can talk with the prosecutor, and your bond can be reconsidered.
yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read?
You can read them.
It says the defendant did on the 20th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at 3110 Mount Zion Road in Stockbridge at approximately 2242 hours, did commit the following violations of Georgia law: aggravated assault, strangulation, and battery. And that said offender did intentionally cause substantial visible bodily harm to his juvenile girlfriend, Artesia Nicholas, date of birth May 13th, 2003, by hitting her in the mouth with a closed fist, causing visible bleeding and swelling to her upper lip after a verbal argument between each other. The offender also placed his hand around the victim's neck, impeding her normal breathing by applying pressure to her neck with his hand. This occurred in Clayton County. Sir, your preliminary hearing will be November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Oh, excuse me. Thank you, sir. Alexander Dunn. After Mr. Dunn will be Damon Gillett. Are you Mr. Dunn?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
You're charged with expired tag. Your bond is $500. Fleeing from police officer, your bond is $1,500. Reckless driving, your bond is $1,500. Driving on a suspended or revoked license, $1,500 bond. Giving a false address, name, or date of birth, your bond is $1,500. Obstructing an officer, your bond is $1,500. Possession of a firearm by a felon, and theft by receiving stolen property, those are felonies. You have no bond because you're currently on a 10-year served 4-year sentence out of Clayton County Superior Court. Possession of marijuana 1 ounce or less, your bond is $1,500. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, ma'am.
Okay. It says the defendant did on the 20th day of October 2020 in Clayton County at 75 northbound at Terra Boulevard in Clayton County, commit the following violations of Georgia law: expired tag, attempt to flee, elude, reckless driving, suspended license, false name, date of birth, obstruction, possession of marijuana, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, theft by receiving stolen property. And that said offender did operate a 2014 Hyundai Sonata northbound on Terra Boulevard with an expired tag P1484814 as of October 19, 2020, initiated a traffic stop, made contact with said offender who advised his name was Alexander Harris with a date of birth of 5/18/1992. I walked back to my patrol vehicle and then said offender sped off 75 northbound. Said offender failed to yield for my emergency lights. Speeds were 110 miles per hour. Said offender was driving erratically, switching lanes at a high rate of speed. speed were so reckless he had no regard for anyone on the roadway. I decided to end the pursuit. A few seconds later, said offender struck 3 vehicles just north of the 285 westbound on ramp. Said offender fled on foot up the 285 westbound ramp. Said offender captured on International Parkway. Said offender had in the vehicle a stolen firearm, Taurus 9mm, serial number TLN 52961, out of the city of Atlanta. Green leafy substance appearing to be marijuana in a glass jar sitting on the driver's seat. Said offender also showed to have a felony probation warrant 2015 CR 00482-08 for ag assault robbery out of Clayton County. Said offender hindered me from performing my duties while I was in a law enforcement capacity by running on foot and fleeing in the vehicle. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing will be November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Damon Gillets, and then after Mr. Gillets will be Barrington Gordon. Are you Mr. Gillett? All right, good afternoon, sir. You are charged with battery. Your bond is $4,000. Criminal trespass, your bond is $1,500. Sir, you have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Melvin Pearson. Also not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
No.
Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Excuse me?
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges? Do you
Um,
know what you're charged with, or do you want me to read the affidavit?
No.
I couldn't hear you.
Sound good.
You said you know what you're charged with?
Yes.
Okay. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
What do you mean by that? No, Your Honor.
Your preliminary, all right. Your preliminary hearing is going to be set for November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Barrington Gordon, and after Mr. Gordon will be Vincent Hill. Are you Mr. Gordon?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You're charged with simple assault. Your bond is $3,000. Interfering with government property, your bond is $5,000. Criminal trespass, your bond is $1,500.
There's something going on with the internet. I can't.
$500. Special condition not to return to. You can't hear me?
You froze up.
You froze up for a second, Your Honor. Just Sylvia Fox, okay. Judge Fox, I couldn't hear what you were, everything
You
you
froze
said.
up, quiet down. Froze up, Your Honor.
Yeah, she's still lagging. I'm aware of the charges, Your Honor.
Hold on, we'll get that.
All right, I logged off and logged back in. Can you all hear me? Oh, I think your laptop there at the jail is muted. Okay, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you now, Your Honor. Yes, yes, ma'am.
All right, did you hear all of the bond amounts?
I did not, Your Honor. I didn't even hear
Okay,
what.
for the simple assault, your bond is 3,000. The interference with government property, your bond is 5,000. For the criminal trespass, your bond is 1,500. You have a special condition not to return to or go upon the premises located at Penske Trucks at 7475 Jonesboro Road in Jonesboro. Also, not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I never did. This is my first time approaching the bench, Your Honor. I wanted to come to court and defend myself, right?
Do you want me to read your charges, or do you already know what you're charged with? Do you want me to read the affidavit from the officer?
Yeah, because this is some of that's news to me.
Hold on. Do you want me to read the affidavit? Yes or no?
Ma'am, I read it when I.
Hold on.
Ma'am.
This is not a hearing. I don't have the other side here, the attorneys. This is just for me to let you know what you're charged with and your bond amount.
Gotcha.
Right. It says the defendant did on the 20th day of October, 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, at 7475 Jonesboro Road in Jonesboro at approximately 9:15. Commit the following violations of Georgia law: simple assault, interference with government property, criminal trespass, and that said offender did refuse to leave by manager Mara Cruz McAlpin. Upon my arrival, I asked the offender to walk outside. The offender refused to identify himself and did not cooperate with instructions. The offender stated he was going to slap the SHIT out of me. The offender kicked the left rear door of the unit, bending it out of alignment. This occurred in Clayton County. All right, sir, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
Oh,
well, actually, I'm sorry, it's a felony charge. So your preliminary hearing is November 18th.
November 18th.
At 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Before I go to Judge Fox, before you go, Judge, those charges, I'm gonna plead nolo.
Thank you, sir. I can't hear anything about the facts of the case. Thank you, sir. Vincent Hill. And then James Hogan. All right, good afternoon. Are you Mr. Hill?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, you are charged with DUI, alcohol, less safe. Your bond is $5,000. Reckless driving, your bond is $1,500. Speeding violation, your bond is $1,500. Driving on a suspended or revoked license, your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Can you just repeat the bonds for me again, and I'll be fine with that. 5,000.
The DUI, 5,000. Reckless driving is 1,500. The speeding is 1,500, and the driving on a suspended license is 1,500.
Okay.
So 9,500 for all four.
Four. Okay. And you said, would I like to waive it? No, ma'am.
Would you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No, ma'am.
All right. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you, and your preliminary hearing will be November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
201.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. James Hogan. After Mr. Hogan will be Brandon Hullett.
Hello,
Are you Mr. Hogan?
Yes, I'm James Hogan.
Hello, sir.
How you doing?
All right. Sir, you are charged with criminal trespass. Your bond is $1,500. Simple battery. Your bond is $4,000. Sir, you have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Bernadette Hogan. Also not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right, sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No.
All right. Says the defendant did on the 21st day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at 455 Park Ridge Circle in Riverdale at approximately 66. Well, that can't be right. 640?
Yes.
0640. Did commit did commit the following violations of Georgia law: criminal trespass, family violence, simple battery, family violence, and that said offender did cause physical harm to the victim, his wife, Bernadette Hogan, date of birth March 3rd, 82, when he pushed the victim and pulled her hair. The offender admitted to harming the victim. The offender did also take the victim's purse without the victim's permission. The offender did admit to taking the victim's phone because the victim would not drive her. Sir, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No, Your Honor.
Right, it will be set for November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. All right, are you Mr. Brandon Hullett?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, after Mr. Hullett will be Stuart McDonald. All right, Mr. Hullett, you are charged with fleeing and eluding police officer, driving unlicensed, possession of a firearm, the commission of a felony, obstruction, no seatbelt, possession of a firearm, speeding, reckless driving, failure to maintain lane, improper lane change. So what happened here, the officer didn't fill out the warrant. The warrantless arrest affidavit. He did give you some citations, but in terms of the warrant for your arrest, since I didn't have that information on the warrant, I did not find probable cause. And so I am dismissing all of the warrants. I'm not sure if you're going to have to appear in court on the citation, but I'm releasing you on these charges. So after the paperwork, after the hearing, the sheriff's office will process the paperwork and then you should be released.
Yes, ma'am.
Unless you have any other holds.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir. Stuart McDonald. After Mr. McDonald will be Ladricus Nunnally. Are you Mr. McDonald?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good afternoon, sir. Sir, you are charged with aggravated assault. Due to the nature of the charges, you have no bond set at this time. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Kelly Brown, not to violate any laws if you are released on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I would like to hear it, Your Honor.
All right. It says the defendant, Stuart McDonald, did on July 19th, 2020 at 665 Forest Hill Path in Forest Park, commit the offense of aggravated assault against the state of Georgia, and that said defendant did knowingly, willfully, and unlawfully commit the offense of aggravated assault upon Kelly Brown. Said accused is the husband of said victim. Said accused did point a shotgun and at said victim and hit said victim in the head with the butt of the shotgun. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Ma'am. Okay.
Ladricus Nunnally and then Nakirio Parks. Are you Mr. Nunnally?
Yes.
Right. Good afternoon, sir. You are charged with simple battery. Your bond is $4,000. Criminal trespass. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Luther Jenkins. Date of birth, November 24th, 57. Also, not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No.
All right. Says the defendant did on the 20th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, at 3936 Camellia Trail in Conley at approximately 1600 hours, did commit the following violations of Georgia law: battery, criminal trespass, and that said offender did, while in a verbal altercation with his live-in father, victim Luther Jenkins, date of birth November 24th, 1957, the offender did intentionally and without authority forcefully push the victim to the ground, causing a visible scratch under the victim's nose. The offender then took a fork and physically scratched Jenkins' vehicle, causing damage to his property. The event was witnessed and recorded by the victim's son, Latrende Nunnally, via cellular device. I observed the cut over the victim's lip and the scratch that was caused to the victim's property. I observed the video on Ladrende's phone and observed the offender pushing his father to the ground. This occurred inside Clayton County. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right, sir, they will have some waiver forms there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir. Nakirio Parks. After Mr. Parks will be Curtis Sobers.
Parks is out of bond.
Okay. Curtis Sobers. And then Robert Taylor.
I'm going to do Sobers last.
Okay. Do you have Robert Taylor? Are you Mr. Taylor?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir. And then next will be Gildardo Torrance. Mr. Taylor, you are charged with possession of a firearm by a felon. You have no bond set on this charge because you're currently on first offender probation, 5 years in Clayton County Superior Court, case number 19 CR 02314. You're also charged with possession of marijuana, 1 ounce or less. Your bond is $1,500 on that charge. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No.
All right. It says the defendant did on the 20th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, at 8787 Terra Boulevard, approximately 1554 hours, did commit the following violations of Georgia law: possession of firearm by felon, possession of marijuana. On October 20th, 2020, the offender was a passenger in a 2009 Pontiac G8. The vehicle was pulled over due to the driver not having on a seatbelt and illegal window tint at 8787 Terra Boulevard. During my encounter with the vehicle, I detected the odor of marijuana emitting from inside the vehicle. I asked all the occupants, was there any marijuana inside the vehicle or any firearms? All occupants stated no. I observed a plastic pouch container in the center console that contained a green leafy substance inside. I advised all occupants I had probable cause to search the vehicle. At that time, the offender admitted he had a firearm in his possession in his right front pocket. The offender gave permission to retrieve the firearm from his front right pocket. The firearm was a Glock 43 9mm, serial number BCM A384. Criminal history confirmed. The offender was on first offender felony probation for aggravated battery in Clayton County, August 18, 2020, case 19 CR 02314. Inside the center console was a small amount of green leafy substance, marijuana, inside a clear plastic bag. The offender admitted the marijuana was his. The incident occurred in Clayton County. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. Gildardo Torrance. All right, are you Mr. Torrance? All right, and then next will be Cameron White. Mr. Torrance, you are charged with 2 counts of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, theft by receiving stolen property, and possession of a weapon during a crime. All right. All right, give me just one moment, sir. I have to review something.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go home with a council. Hurry up, sir. Huh? You had it on, that's why.
All right, okay. On the first BGCSA was the intent to distribute. I did not find probable cause for that charge, so I dismissed it. On the possession of marijuana more than an ounce, I did not find probable cause for that, for the felony amount, because the officer did not put the weight in the warrant, so I dropped that down to misdemeanor. So your bond on that is $1,500. Possession of a stolen property, your bond is $10,000, and possession of a weapon during a crime, your bond is $10,000. All right, and you have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, Your Honor.
All right, it says the defendant did on the 20th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at Allen Drive, Roy Huey Road at approximately 0230 hours. Did commit the following violations of Georgia law: intent to distribute, possession of marijuana, possession of a stolen firearm, theft by receiving, possession of a firearm, the commission of a felony. And that said offender did have in his possession a stolen firearm out of the city of Hateville. Torrance also had enough marijuana in his possession that weighed more than an ounce. So sir, let's see. I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Judge Fox,
Yes.
do you have a Marlon Turner? Let's get over him.
No, I think they told me, did he go to first appearance on Tuesday?
Go.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I think they told me he went to first appearance on Tuesday.
I guess so.
You go to court on?
We got a lot of guys.
Cameron White, man.
Okay, Cameron White. And then after Mr. White will be Adidas Wyatt. Mr. White, you're charged with improper passing. Your bond is $500. Violation of seatbelt law, $500 bond. Fleeing from a police officer, $5,000 bond. Aggressive driving, $500 bond. Aggravated assault upon an officer, $5,000 bond. Driving on a suspended or revoked license, $1,500 bond.
Yes, ma'am. Is it?
Reckless driving, $1,500 bond. And 2 red light violations, $500 on each count for the red light violation. All right.
Is there any way I can add all that up so I know to tell my people?
Hold on.
Just like that. They just charged me with some shit.
Hold on. Like you're on 3 years probation out of Clayton County Superior Court with a sentence date of October 8th of 2018.
No, ma'am. I just did a whole year in Clayton County behind that to squash all of that.
Oh, they closed your probation?
Yes, man, I just got out February 23rd, 2019.
All right, so the sheriff's office, I mean, I can't add it right now. It's probably 10, 11, 12, 14. It might be about 14,500, but I don't have a calculator in front of me for all of that. But I think that's how much it is with me looking at it, about 14,500 for all of the charges. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I don't understand. I'm sorry. I don't understand. Do I waive the formal reading?
Yes. Do you understand what you're charged with, or do you want me to read the warrants to you?
I ain't gonna waste your time, Judge. No, man, I'm good. I understand.
All right. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. And let me see. Your preliminary hearing is going to be November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Adidas Wyatt, and then Maurice Bender. All right. Are you Mr. Wyatt?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, you are charged with fleeing from a police officer. Your bond is 1,500. License not on person, your bond is 500. Stop sign violation, your bond is 500. Sir, you have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, I don't.
All right. It says the defendant did on the 20th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, Hayes Drive, McFerrin Circle, at approximately 1925 hours, did commit the following violations of Georgia law: fleeing, eluding, no license on person, failure to stop at a stop sign. This incident occurred in Clayton County. While assisting with a road safety check, I noticed a gray Ford Fusion attempting to back up and go the other way. The vehicle went around another vehicle, ran through a stop sign, and made a left turn and drove into a driveway. Jumped out of the vehicle, attempting to flee on foot, but was ordered to the ground. The driver, later known as Adidas Wyatt, did not have a valid license on his person. Sir, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No.
All right, sir, your preliminary hearing will be November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. All right, Maurice Bender.
Good evening, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir. Just a second, trying to get the paperwork together. All right, and after Mr. Bender will be Kaze Boykin. Mr. Bender, you're charged with theft by conversion. Your bond is $5,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Can you be a little bit lenient on that bond, ma'am, through this pandemic? I have something, but I don't have much.
Okay, you'll be able to You can do cash, a bonding company, or a property bond. But it is a felony charge, and that's why it's 5,000. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
I would want them read to me if I follow you correctly.
All right. It says the defendant Maurice Bender did on September 17th at 681 Flint River Road, apartment 21A in Jonesboro, commit the offense of theft by conversion against the state of Georgia, and that said defender did, having lawfully obtained another's property, automobile 2004 Honda Accord, and it lists the VIN number of 1HGCM56784A037852, and did knowingly convert the property to his own use in violation of the agreement as to the disposition of said property having a value of $1,500.01 or greater, to wit, select property value range greater than $10,000, with the intent to deprive said owner of said property. Ms. Sharice Johnson is the owner of the vehicle and is the daughter of the offender, Mr. Maurice Bennett. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. November the 18th, right?
Yes, sir.
I can go to a Bills bond?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
5,000. Tyze Boykin and then Devontae Brantley. All right. Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Boykin? All right, sir. You are charged with violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, possession of marijuana, 1 ounce or less, drug-related use or possession of drug-related objects. After reviewing the warrant, I did not find probable cause for the VGCSA or the possession of marijuana. So I dismissed those charges, and your bond is 1,000 on the use or possession of drug-related objects. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes. So are you trying to say that you saying I have 1 charge? You dismissed 2?
Yeah. Yeah, I dismissed 2. So you have the 1 use or possession of drug-related objects.
Okay, is that a misdemeanor?
Yes, it's a misdemeanor, and the bond is $1,000. All right, and I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, but will I still be able to make bond if I bond out?
System, once I send the orders over to the sheriff's office after this hearing.
Okay.
All right, so sir, they will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir. All right, Devontae Brantley and then Dominic Breedlove. Are you Mr. Brantley?
No.
All right, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
You have 2 counts of violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is $5,000 on each count. You're also charged with improper passing in a no pass zone. Your bond is $500. Improper lane change. Your bond is $500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I'm sorry, can you explain it to me?
Do you want me to read the affidavit from the officer, or do you understand what you're charged with?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I understand what I'm charged with.
Okay. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set for November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Am I allowed to bond out?
Yes.
Okay.
Your bond on all 4 charges is $11,000.
No, so would I be able to do a property bond?
You can talk with the sheriff's office about that if you have someone that can do a property bond.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dominic Breedlove and then Macy Butler, Dominic Breedlove, and then Macy Butler. All right, are you Mr. Breedlove?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You are charged with theft by shoplifting. You have no bond set because you are currently on 8 years probation out of Fayette County Superior Court, case number 2019 R0351. You have a special condition not to return to or go upon the premises located at the Home Depot at 680 Lamar Hutchinson Parkway. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right. Sir, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you.
I have a paid attorney already on it.
Okay, well, as soon as they file an entry of appearance, then the court-appointed attorney would be relieved.
Okay.
But I want to make sure that you have counsel, and they're not here today. So, let's see. Your preliminary hearing is set for November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Make sure you let your attorney know. November 18th at 8 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Butler, and then Deshaun Creasy. Are you Mr. Butler?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, you are charged with violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is $10,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes. Yes, I know.
All right, sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. Deshaun Creasy, and then Harvey Davis.
How you doing, man?
All right, good afternoon, sir. Are you Mr. Creasy?
No.
All right, sir, you are charged with criminal trespass. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to return to or go upon the premises located at 11 Upper Riverdale Road in Riverdale, Georgia. Also not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am, but.
All right, sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. For your preliminary hearing, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, they will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused.
What do you mean waive it?
Sir,
What you mean?
did you not want to waive it? That means you'll get a court date in state court in 7 to 10 days.
Oh, no, ma'am. I don't want to waive it.
All right, sir, it will be set for November, your preliminary hearing, November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Get a bond, right?
The bond was $1,500.
You said 1,500.
1,500, 1,500.
Oh, man. All right.
Harvey Davis, and after Mr. Davis will be Willie Flemingster.
Right here. Yeah.
All right, are you Mr. Davis?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You're charged with a license not on person. Your bond is $500. Obstructing an officer, your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
What does that mean?
Do you understand what you're charged with, or do you want me to read the affidavit from the officer?
Understand.
All right. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Could you explain that to me? I'm unfamiliar with all of this.
The preliminary hearing is a probable cause hearing. It will be held on November 3rd in Magistrate Court. If you want to waive that hearing, it will expedite your case
You're breaking out, Your Honor. You're
to
breaking.
state court, where you'll get a hearing. Do you want to waive your preliminary? Can you all hear me now?
Breaking out, Your Honor.
Okay, can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
I didn't hear when you explained what it was. It was breaking up.
The probable cause hearing. If you waive that hearing, you'll get a court date in state court in 7 to 10 days.
I'll do the hearing. I'll do it.
All right. It will be set for November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Willie Flemister, then Anthony Goolsby.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are you Mr. Flemister?
Yes.
All right, sir, you're charged with false statements. Your bond is $5,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
What that mean that
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges? Do you understand what you're charged with, or do you want me to read the affidavit from the officer?
yes, I understand.
Okay. Sir, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you.
Okay.
Your preliminary hearing is set for November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I get a bond, right?
It's $5,000.
How much is 5,000?
Anthony Goolsby, and then Ladarius Jordan. Are you Mr. Goolsby?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. It says you're charged with failure to register. You have no bond set due to the nature of the charges. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Don't get no bond for that.
No, sir.
All right.
Ladarius Jordan, and then Kevin McPhee. Are you Mr. Jordan?
Ma'am, how you doing?
Good, thank you, sir. Sir, you are charged with improper lane change. Your bond is $500. No license, your bond is $1,000. And HOV lane violation, your bond is $500. So a total of $2,000 for all three charges. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am. I understand my charges.
Okay. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No, ma'am.
All right, it will be set for November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Kevin McAfee,
Huh?
and then Malik Muhammad. Are you Mr. McAfee?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, you are charged with burglary. Your bond is 10,000. You have a special condition not to return to or go upon the premises located at 4328 Rushmore Place in Forest Park. Also not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Why is it burglary instead of criminal trespassing when I didn't steal anything?
The charge is burglary. That's what you're charged with. I can't give you any legal advice, but it's burglary for going into remain. Let me read the warrant to you so that you understand. It says on October 21st, 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, the defendant did commit the following violations of Georgia law: burglary, and that said offender did commit the offense of burglary when he, without authority, entered and remained at 4328 Rushmore Place, Forest Park, 30297, and committed theft of the following: theft of electricity, when said offender used the lights, washer and dryer, and cooked using the stove of the owner, victim Dwayne Taylor, at the residence. That offender also caused minor damage to the mold of the attic when he sought the space for hiding. Sir, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set for November 18th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. Malik Wesley Nichols, are you Mr. Mohammed?
Yes, yes, Mr. Muhammad.
Okay. Muhammad?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sir, you are charged with driving on a suspended or revoked license. Your bond is 1,500. Expired plates, registration. Your bond is 1,000. Use or possession of drug-related objects. Your bond is 1,000. Violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act. I did not find probable cause for that charge, so I dismissed that. Possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime. I did not find probable cause. I dismissed that charge as well. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, I understand the charges, Your Honor.
I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. So I dismissed the 2 felonies on the misdemeanors. You can have a preliminary hearing on November 3rd, or do you want to waive that hearing and expedite your case to state court?
No, I don't want to wait.
Okay, your hearing will be set for November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Wesley Nichols. And then David Oliver. All right, Mr. Nichols, good afternoon. Sir, you are charged with driving under the influence of alcohol, less safe. Your bond is 5,000. Following too close, your bond is 500. And driving on a suspended or revoked license, your bond is 1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges? Okay. It says on October, the defendant did on the 21st day of October, 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at, oh, sorry, I could not read the officer's handwriting. Terra Boulevard, Battle Creek Road in Jonesboro at approximately 0411 hours did commit the following violations of Georgia law: DUI, less safe, following too closely, driving while suspended. And that said offender did commit the above offenses when he was in actual physical control of a blue 1994 GMC truck while traveling northbound on Terra Boulevard within Clayton County. Said offender ended a stopped vehicle at a high rate of speed, causing disabling damage and physical injuries. The offender was unsteady on his feet, could not maintain his balance. His speech was slurred, and he could barely keep his eyes open during HGN, which 2 out of 6 clues were observed, 5 out of 8 on the walk and turn, and he was unable to perform the one-leg stand due to his balance. Implied consent refused. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No.
Right, sir. Set your preliminary hearing for November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. David Oliver, and after Mr. Oliver will be Brandon Pittman.
Yes, ma'am. David Oliver.
All right. Mr. Oliver, you're charged with improper solicitation of money. Your bond is $1,000. Sir, I'm going to release you on a signature bond. You will have a condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
If you want to
Do
read,
you want me to, or do you understand what you're charged with?
yes, ma'am, I understand.
Okay. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. And since I'm releasing you on a signature bond, I just need for you to sign a waiver of the preliminary hearing, and you'll receive your next court date in the mail.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So make sure that they have the address for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Brandon Pittman,
Yes, ma'am.
and then Joel Ramos. Are you Mr. Pittman? All right. Sir, you're charged with battery. Your bond is $4,000. 2 counts of cruelty to children. Your bond is $2,000 each on each count. So your total bond is $8,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Taylor Barnes, May 31st, 1998, her date of birth. Also not to violate any laws while you're on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I'll just take it to court whenever I go to court and deal with it.
Okay. I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
When would that be?
It would be set for November 3rd. Or if you waive that hearing in magistrate court, you'll get a hearing in state court in 7 to 10 days.
November 3rd.
All right. So it'll be November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Joel Ramos, are you Mr. Ramos? All right, and then next will be Dondre Reeves. Mr. Ramos, you're charged with battery. Your bond is $4,000. And cruelty to children in the 3rd degree, your bond is $2,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Kevin Ramos. Date of birth, October 2nd, 2005. Also not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No.
All right, sir, it will be set for November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. Dondre Reeves, and after Mr. Reeves will be Harold Render. All right. Are you Mr. Reeves?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You're charged with possession of marijuana, 1 ounce or less. Your bond is $1,500. Obstructing an officer, your bond is $1,500. Tinted window violation, your bond is $500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I would like them read.
Okay. Says the defendant did on the 21st day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, at Terrell Boulevard and Mount Zion Road at approximately 0723 hours did commit the following violations of Georgia law: possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce, obstruction, and window tint violation. In that said offender did drive a Dodge Magnum, Georgia tag number RLK 1761 on Terrell Boulevard near Mount Zion Road. The vehicle's window tints appeared to be darker than the legal limit. I conducted a traffic stop and made contact with the driver, the said offender. A strong odor of marijuana was smelled inside of the vehicle. The said offender was instructed to exit the vehicle several times, which he refused. The said offender was removed from the vehicle, which he was laying on the ground. The said offender was instructed to place his hands behind his back, which he refused to place his behind his back, which a struggle occurred. The said offender was placed into custody. A clear plastic bag was located inside of the said offender's jacket, which contained suspected marijuana. The window tint measured at 21%. Sir, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Could I ask you, because I don't understand, what does that mean if I waive it? The preliminary hearing.
Waive the preliminary, which is held in magistrate court. It will expedite your case to state court, which is where misdemeanor cases are handled. Would get a hearing in state court in 7 to 10 days.
Okay. I guess you said November. If I waive it, I go to state court. If I don't, I go to magistrate court, you said?
Yeah, for a preliminary, a probable cause hearing.
Okay.
You want the preliminary hearing?
Yeah.
All right, it will be. Okay, it'll be set for November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
And do I have a bond?
All right, thank you.
Do I have a bond, Your Honor? And could I possibly request, is it a way I can request a senator bond? I'm not going anywhere, I'm not running.
The bond is $3,500 on all 3 charges.
You said what now?
$3,000 on all 3.
So altogether it's $3,500, or that's $3,000 a piece?
Together for all 3 charges.
Okay, so how much would that be to get out? I have to pay $3,500 to get out, or I can go through a bonding company?
Well, either or. If you want to pay cash, you'd have to pay the whole amount. If you don't have the full amount, then you can go through a bonding company. You'll have to contact them and they'll tell you what, the percentage is,
Get a signature?
the amount. Or, no, sir. Or you can go through someone that has property, if they're willing to put up their property, and you could post a property bond.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Harold Render and Gary Sanders. Harold Render.
He's coming, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, good afternoon. Are you Mr. Render?
Ma'am.
All right, sir, you are charged with driving under the influence. Your bond is $5,000. Failure to yield the right of way while turning left, your bond is $500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Ma'am.
All right, sir, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir. So there will be a waiver form there at the jail for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir. Gary Sanders, and after Mr. Sanders will be Kendrick Stoghill. Are you Mr. Sanders?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon. You're charged with criminal trespass. Your bond is 1,500. Use or possession of drug-related objects. Your bond is 1,000. You have a special condition not to return to or go upon the premises located at 399 Upper Riverdale Road in Jonesboro. Also not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am. You said you wanted to read the paperwork?
Do you want me to read the affidavit from the officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It says the defendant did on the 21st day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, at 399 Upper Riverdale Road, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30236, commit the following violations of Georgia law: criminal trespass and possession of drug-related objects, and that said offender did go to the incident location, Little Giants Farmers Market, and enter into the men's public restroom and go into a stall. The offender laid all his belongings and U.S. currency onto the floor and remained in the stall. It was brought to the manager, complainant Timothy Bates' attention that the offender had been in the stall for over an hour. Timothy Bates advised the offender to gather his belongings and leave the location, and the offender refused. Timothy Bates advised that he and other coworkers attempted to make the offender leave the location for over an hour, but the offender refused to leave. After 2 hours of the offender refusing to leave, police were called. I made contact with the offender, giving him a lawful order to leave the location, and the offender refused. Incident to arrest, I located a glass smoking device, crack pipe, commonly used to smoke illegal narcotics, in the offender's backpack. Sir, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Did you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, there should be a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
I just had triplets, three girls, and I have a job that I just started 3 weeks ago.
You have a bond. Your bond is 2,500 on for both charges.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any way I get an OR? Please.
No, sir.
All right.
No, sir. Kendrick Stoghill. And then next will be Marvin Thomas. Are you Mr. Stoghill? All right. Sir, you are charged with forgery in the 4th degree. Your bond is $2,000. You have a special condition, excuse me, not to violate any laws while you're on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Mom, could you read them to me, please?
All right, it says, excuse me for just a second. I'm gonna have to get some water. Excuse me for just a moment. Okay. All right, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's see. It says the defendant Kendrick Stockhill did on April 6, 2019 at 822 Street in Forest Park commit the offenses of forgery in the 4th degree against the state of Georgia. And that said defendant did make, alter, possess, uttered, and or deliver a certain check to wit written in the amount less than $1,500 in a fictitious name in such a manner that the check is made or altered purports to have been made by another person at another time with different provisions by authority of one who did not give such authority. Said accused did make a check using a fictitious business who said accused does not work for and did not get permission from. Said accused attempted to cash the check in the amount of $819.09. So I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
Oh, ma'am.
All right, sir, it will be set for November 3rd at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
And it's 2,000?
Hold on, let me look at it again. Yes, $2,000 for the bond.
I just have one quick question. Like, I actually left the check and my ID there. How do I go about getting my identification back?
I'm not sure. I've appointed an attorney to represent you, so they can check into that for you.
Have a good day.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, Marvin Thomas and then Terry Wesley. Are you Mr. Thomas?
Yeah.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. You are charged with being a fugitive from justice. You have no bond because you are wanted by another jurisdiction. It says that you are wanted by Trempaleau, not sure, REMPALEAU, County Sheriff's Office, White Mill, Wisconsin, for possession with intent to deliver cocaine and possession of drug paraphernalia. And the warrant number is W751447062. It is a felony and they wish to extradite you back to Wisconsin on those charges. So, sir, this is what's called decide whether or not you want to contest extradition. You can voluntarily go back to Wisconsin. We'll contact them. They'll have 10 business days to come pick you up, or we'll release you from our jail. Your warrant would still be pending. If you do not want to voluntarily return, you can contest extradition. Now, you won't be able to contest the issue of your innocence or guilt because your case is not pending here in Clayton County. But you would be able to contest 4 things. 1, whether the extradition documents are in order on their face, whether you are charged with a crime that actually exists in the demanding state of Wisconsin, are the person named in the request for extradition, and whether you are in fact a fugitive from justice. We could hold you here in our jail for up to 90 days awaiting that extradition hearing, and I would appoint an attorney to represent you if you do wish to contest extradition. So, sir, do you want to voluntarily return back to Wisconsin?
Well, the thing was, I only missed the Zoom court date.
I don't even have the file. It's not pending here. So, okay. So they have some waiver forms, so waive the extradition hearing for you to sign. And then after that, you'll be excused. And like I said, Sheriff's Office, they'll contact Wisconsin to let them know that you signed, that you want to voluntarily return, and then you have to deal with whatever your defense is or whatever information you have to deal with it when you go back to Wisconsin. All right, thank you, sir. Terry Wesley. Are you Mr. Wesley?
Ma'am.
All right, sir, you are charged with driving with no license.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, your bond is $1,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bonds.
ma'am.
Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, they should have some waiver forms there for you to sign, and then you will be excused.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good one.
I have two people left, Curtis Sobers and Shanika Parker. Shanika Parker, yes. I think that's the one where I guess she was gonna have to be brought up. Or did I do her already?
You did already. She came up already.
Curtis Sobers, I think that's the only person I have left then.
Hold on one second.
All right. All right, good afternoon, sir. Are you Mr. Sobers?
Yes.
All right. Sir, Curtis Sobers, you are charged with battery. Your bond is $4,000. And criminal damage in the second degree, your bond is $1,500. Sir, you have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Glory Bridges, date of July 12, 1956. Also not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
All right. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I need my money first. I need my getting money for my mother.
All right. The probable cause affidavit says the defendant did on the 20th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, at 772 Yorkshire Drive in Jonesboro, 30236, commit the following violations of Georgia law: simple battery, criminal damage to property in the second degree. In that said offender did make physical contact with the victim, Glory Bridges, date of birth, July 12, 1956, by punching her in the arm with his fist. The offender did damage an HP computer with the valued price of $1,200, which exceeds over $500. This incident occurred in Clayton County. Let's see. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing, sir? Right, sir, I will set your preliminary, I'll give you a chance to speak with your attorney. I'll set your preliminary hearing. It will be set for November 3rd.
Yes.
At 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Aye.
Thank you. Where's he gonna go? What now?
All I have on the calendar. Did you all have anyone else there?
No, this way, sir. I need my money. I got you. I need my money first. Who did you? I need my money.
Did you all have anyone else left?
That's it, young.
All right, that's going to conclude this first appearance hearing. Have a good day.
Have a good day, young.
Bye, Judge.
Bye.